I was reading the Bible every single day, bro. And then I started exploring Mormons. I started exploring like Eastern Orthodox, Oriental Orthodox. When I converted into Christianity, I learned about Islam too, because someone told me about Islam. They told me to stay away from Islam. And then I tried talking about Islam with them. They're like, nah, don't even talk to them. They're like, you should burn that book. I'm like, burn what book? He's like, burn the Quran.
وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ شُعُوبًا وَقَبَائِلَ لِتَعَارَفُوا.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. This is another episode of the Latino Muslim podcast, and today we're joined by a very good brother, a brother I recently met at the masjid al-Nur. Brother Gerry, how are you?
Doing very good. Thank you for having me, Abdullah.
Alhamdulillah, of course, brother. These stories resonate with a lot of people. They're very beneficial, so inshallah, people can continue benefiting from this. So let's get into your story. You're Filipino, right?
Yes, Filipino, born in Las Vegas.
Born in Las Vegas. Your family's Catholic.
Yeah. My mom is Catholic. My dad is Catholic as well.
Gotcha. Yeah. I was in a Catholic household as well when I was little. My parents were Catholic or are, and I can definitely relate to a lot of that upbringing. Was your household religious?
No, probably like in the first maybe 5 years after I was born, it was religious. Like my dad was there. He was Catholic. My mom was Catholic. And they would practice a little bit. We'll go to church every Sunday. My dad would, try to discipline me as much as he can. But unfortunately, my mom was like, how do I say? I guess it wasn't a good fit, so they divorced. So after that, it just kind of fell apart.
Gotcha. So you grew up in a religious household. Sounds like up until that divorce. How old were you when they divorced?
Probably like maybe I was like maybe 5 years old, 6 years old. Okay. I can't remember too much.
Yeah. So you're 6 years old. Your parents get a divorce. As a kid, were you a good kid? Were you rebellious in those stages? Between 6 years old and 11 years old.
I didn't know anything, so I was just probably like maybe for after the 6th year, I was just listening to my mom, listening to my family. And then when I got older, I just, started to become rebellious. Like, man, I just didn't want to listen to my mom. My mom, my dad. I mean, I barely talk to maybe on the weekends I'll talk to my dad. He was still in touch with my life, but let me see. I see. Like, I became, in the end, I became rebellious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's something that is very common when there's no religion, there's no stability in the household. The kids tend to pretty much rebel and do their own thing. So I definitely understand that. So coming into your teens, right? So 12, 13, 14, are you believing in anything? Do you believe in God and a higher power? Anything?
Nothing, bro. I did not believe one thing, bro.
Yeah.
I was like, I was just like a degenerate, bro. I was like some fool,
Yeah.
But then, like, I think I was just hanging around with the wrong people, honestly. Like, people that were talk back, some people that were funny. I wanted to hang around with because they were funny. And honestly, I just didn't really care. I just cared about me being funny and just like chill. Like I cared about myself more than anybody. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Okay, so you're in your teens, you're rebellious, you're not really believing in anything. At this point, do you have any plan to get religious about Christianity? Like, let me look back into Catholicism / Christianity at this point, or not at all? Are you like?
During that time?
Yeah, during that time.
No, I was just really like hanging out with my friends a lot. I used to BMX, skate.
Yeah.
And I was just like that one kid that just like one Filipino that's like not with the other Filipinos.
Yeah.
So I hung around with all Hispanics, bro.
Oh, really? So you grew up with a lot of Hispanics in your community?
Yeah, a lot, actually.
Oh,
yeah.
mashallah.
Yeah.
Mashallah. So at this point, it seems like your life is kind of chaotic in a sense. You don't really have too much guidance. At this point, have you heard anything about Islam?
Nah, bro, I didn't heard anything. All I heard was like if I go on YouTube or something And all I see is just like those videos that saying Allahu Akbar. I'm
Yeah.
like, I'll just be laughing, but like, bro, that's so funny, you know?
Yeah.
But then, I haven't. Maybe I got exposed to it, but I didn't really take it serious, you know?
Okay, so you got exposed to it, maybe in a comedic way. And at what point in your life do you tell yourself, okay, let me look into God? Was there a series of events that made you think, wow, like I got to get closer to God?
Jeez. Okay, so, bro. So let me tell you this. I had an ex-girlfriend, okay? And honestly, bro, I was so submissive, bro.
Okay.
And I was like I was with this girl. After 18, I graduated. I graduated in Las Vegas, right? And I didn't know nothing about like Islam, Catholic. All I knew, there was a cross and a man on the cross, and I thought they were joking.
Wow. Okay.
You know? And then after, I was like, I think when I turned 19, I asked this girl, like, I was like, hey, you want to be my girlfriend, you know? And I was like, she was like, yeah. And then we were together for 5 years.
Okay.
I was so submissive, bro. I was like a little, you know, I was basically like, I was kind of like.
No, yeah, I get the point. Basically, like,
yeah,
it doesn't seem like a healthy relationship from the outside looking in. Of course, you know better, but was it just a series of events through that relationship that made you want to seek out to God?
Nah, bro, I didn't want to see God at all.
Okay.
I think I was just there to like have fun with my girlfriend, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, like I didn't really care. I just cared about my girlfriend more than anybody else. Okay. And I think in the middle, it's just kind of like, and for 5 years, I was like, and she would wear a cross too. I think she was Catholic. Yeah. You know, and I hope she's doing good, you know? Anyways, but what's it called? Yeah, she was Catholic. She was born Catholic. Her family was religious. I knew they didn't like me. I know for a fact, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, sheesh. And I think that's when I got exposed to Catholic, but I didn't really read. I was just like, man, therapy is the wave, you know? Like, I don't need no God. I need therapy.
Oh, okay.
And then, and for like a couple years, I was like, okay, me and her, we did couples therapy, dude.
SubhanAllah.
I was like, we did couples therapy. Honestly, bro, it don't even work, you know? Yeah. And it did probably work a little bit, but, you know.
No, absolutely. You know, in Islam, for me, at least from my personal experience, I believe that through prayer, through salah, through fasting, through these acts of worship, that's the best therapy in my opinion. You know, there's no other human being that could steer me in the right direction except Allah. Yeah. So definitely, it must have been a difficult situation at some point.
Yeah, man. Like,
now, at what point did you say, I do want to get closer to God? Was it a series? Like, was it someone that invited you to something?
Okay, well, let me tell you this. After like my girl and I broke up, and well, she's my ex now. Broke up, and I was deep in the hole, man. I was doing some weird stuff. I was dabbling into psychology. I was dabbling into like, dude, I was like basically like doing my best to pick up a lot of girls and like talk to a lot of girls, talk to a lot of people. And bro, like I think it got to a point where it's just like, bro, like how come nothing's changing? Yeah. And then like I think the end of maybe the beginning of 2024 or 2025, I was like, yo, I gotta change my life. Like I got to. And then 2 weeks later, like it was New Year's end. Like I was like, okay, she's done. And the year started, was like maybe 2025. I was like, okay. 2 weeks later, I met this guy. He was Christian. I was like, oh, okay. I heard about you guys. Yeah. And then, I think like maybe 3 months after meeting that guy, I like got baptized and everything in Christianity, bro.
Wow. So you meet this person. He brings you into the church. You get baptized. You're born again Christian. Yeah. How long did that last?
It lasted maybe almost for a year, honestly. Like I was reading the Bible every single day, bro. I was reading the Old Testament, And well, I read Luke, and then I started reading the Old Testament, and then I was like, whoa, this is like so different. And then I started exploring Mormons. I started exploring like Eastern Orthodox, Oriental Orthodox, and like I was studying about like the Bible basically. And then after like I was studying about like I was going to church and everything, right? Yeah. I was like a full Christian at this point. I was like, people like when I walk in the home, they'd be like, oh, it's Father Gerry. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yeah, that's me. And then they would think I'm so serious. I'm like, nah. They think I'm like so sad. I'm like, nah, I'm like really happy right now, like inside, deep down, you know? And then they're like, I think after, dude, I was like, maybe I think almost a year that, and no, actually when I converted into Christianity, I was like, I learned about Islam too, because someone told me about Islam. They told me to stay away from Islam. SubhanAllah. And I was like, huh? Stay away from Islam? Like, what's wrong with Islam? So when they said that, it made me even deeper research. Yeah. So like the more they even said like stay away, it made me want to come closer to Islam. And then I tried talking about Islam with them. They're like, nah, don't even talk to them. They're like, you should burn that book. I'm like, burn what book? He's like, burn the Quran. I'm like, and I know who said that, but you know, it's okay. After that, I was like, okay. I tried to get away from Islam, bro. If I be honest, I tried to get away from it 3 months.
Oh, okay.
3 months, bro. Yeah. And then I met this one friend. His name is Omar. Yo, shout out to Omar.
That's Omar.
He's 17, bro. Bro, he's you know, he's gonna be he's a student of knowledge, so very good.
MashaAllah.
Anyways, I met him, and I met him at a pool, bro. And it was crazy. At the pool, I was reading the Bible. And then he saw me reading the Bible. He was a really quiet kid, you know? And he came up, he was swimming too, and I was swimming and reading the Bible at the same time. He was like, I think me and him eye contact. I was like, what's up, bro? He's like, what's up? And then after, bro, he was like, you reading the Bible? I'm like, yeah. You read the Bible? He's like, nah, I'm Muslim, man. I'm like, oh, I got some questions for you. Yeah. And then he was like, he thought I was trying to debate him, but I was like, nah, bro, I'm trying to learn about Islam. He was like, really? I'm like, yeah, bro, it's not no debating, you know? Yeah. He was like, okay, that's cool. Hey, man, inshallah, you're going to become Muslim. I'm like, I don't know yet. I'm still Christian. And he goes like, and he started just explaining about Islam. I'm like, bro, this makes so much sense. Like, why is it? He's like, well, and he says something like about like, yeah, Allah chose you. I'm like, nah, he didn't, bro. Let me. And then I tried talking to my friend. He's Christian too, right? Yeah. He's like, I think it became to a point where it's like, I think it became annoying to them because I always talk about Islam, and then they would just be like, don't talk. Well, they didn't say physically talk about it. They'll just shut it down just by using scripture, you know? Yeah. I'm like, all right, whatever, you know? And I gave up for 3 months straight. I did my best to get away from Omar, my friend Omar, bro. And I go like, hey, bro, like, no, I think he hit me up one day, right? And he goes like, hey, bro, you want to hang out? I'm like, yeah, let's hang out, you know? And at the time, I was doing kind of like weird stuff, but it's okay. Anyways, I think he hit me up. He's like, hey, you want to come to the masjid? I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, I don't want to go. And then like, I don't want to lie to my Christian friends. And then so I kept this silence. I went to the masjid, bro.
You went to the masjid?
I went to Omar Haikel. I think, yeah, Omar Haikel, right? He invited me. He was like, hey, bro, you should come. And I went and I met everyone, you know? But then, let me keep in mind, I went to a masjid before. I didn't feel connected at all. I'm be honest. If you guys don't know anybody, like, I would say if you want to get connected to the masjid, you have to know someone, you know? You can't just show up and be like, hi, how's it going? I'm Gerry, you know? Yeah. But
no, I think that goes to show the importance of we need to welcome our people into our community, and it's always good to know someone because as you can see, we have a very strong brotherhood, the best of friends, the best of people, the people who remind you about Allah. So we're very tight together. So definitely there's a huge importance in having at least someone that can bring you around. And that is our duty as Muslims, to give dawah and invite people to the masjid and be there with them. You know, answer their questions, be patient with them, because everything about Islam makes sense. We just need to give the dawah to the people, you know. So you go to the masjid, to Omar Haikal, and how was that experience like?
Bro, it was so weird at first. I was like, what's going on here? Everybody's Middle Eastern. I don't see no Filipino. You know, I was like, all right, I'm the only Filipino. But I was like, for the 2 weeks, right? I met this guy named like Abdul Rahman. And he was, yeah, shout out to Abdul. He like, one thing I was like, he invited me, that very same day I met him, he invited me to the masjid to do like kickboxing MMA, but the halal way, you know?
Of course.
And he was like, okay, yeah, because I do a lot of combat sports. I do jiu-jitsu, I do wrestling, and I do boxing as well. So, and he invited me. I was like, okay, I went. And honestly, bro, like spending time with a lot of Muslims, I was like, dang, this is really cool because of the brotherhood. You know, the brotherhood, like you said, it was like very tight. We just, you know, we make sure we grow with each other, you know, and we keep each other accountable, which is really good. And I always liked it because every time when I was in Christianity, dude, oh my gosh, there's I don't want to say like fake or anything, but it's just a lot of people are just it's just sometimes it's disappointing, you know.
No, I agree with that, because at the end of the day, this is the religion, Islam, of yaqeen, of conviction. Yeah. So we truly will believe in what we read and about the message of Islam. So we do our best to follow it. Of course, Muslims, we can make mistakes, but I believe we're very consistent with practicing our deen. Whereas other religions, imagine if it doesn't make sense to them, or they're trying to make sense of it, are they truly going to practice it? Yeah. Islam truly enters the heart, and it gives you that yaqeen, the conviction. So it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, like when I was a Christian, dude, there was so much people that like was so confused. They're like,
Subhanallah.
You know, I was just like, wait, what's wrong? Like, and sometimes I felt like I was the only one that's holding them accountable. And it was hard because no one wasn't holding me accountable. Yeah. And I started to become like them a little bit. So I was like, dang, no one's holding me accountable. But in Islam, they were holding me accountable. Yeah. And I was holding them accountable.
Of course. Yeah, we're all on the same page. We're pulling in the same direction. And we know that our goal is to enter Jannah. So we're going to do our best to remind each other and stay on the path. So at this point, you're dabbling into Christianity. It's not truly making sense, but you get invited to the masjid. You get invited to see the brothers. You're doing MMA with them. Mm-hmm. I remember you also mentioned at one point you dabbled into Orthodox Christianity.
Yeah. So before Islam, I was dabbling into Eastern Orthodox. Okay. Because I think from that time, I don't know too much about Eastern Orthodox, but I would say that they were like the Bible. They were probably like the Giga Chad of the Holy Bible. Okay. And I wanted to be around those people, and it was a serious. And I had this one Christian friend, right? He was like, I have a feeling that you might become Muslim because of the discipline. Because of the discipline, how manly it is, how masculine it is. And it has a lot of rules.
This was a Christian telling you this?
Yeah, a Christian telling me this. I was like, you know, and then he goes like, I was like, really? Yeah, like, and he told me, he's like, yeah, Eastern Orthodox is like almost like Islam, because there's carpet, you know, there's people praying, and then they wear a veil, Eastern Orthodox, and then the woman over at Islam, they wear like the whole hijab, you know? Of course. And I'm like, yeah, sort of, it is the same. And then in that mindset, I was like, you know what? I think I might become like Muslim, like actually Muslim. And then and then after that, I was like, you know, I was Eastern Orthodox. Yeah, I was dabbling into that, but not anymore. I'm Muslim now, so yeah.
MashaAllah. So let's go back to that point where you meet the brothers. At what point do you decide this is what I want to do? I want to become Muslim.
So as soon as I started meeting all the brothers and started going to the masjid, like basically every day for like maybe 2-3 weeks straight, I told my Christian friends, bro, they were like, they were like sad about it. And I remember 2 weeks before I took my shahada, I was like, God, I prayed to God. I was like, God, like, give me your biggest heartbreak. I didn't even know though. I didn't even know about Islam. I didn't even think about going to Islam. And 2 weeks before I even before I went to the masjid, it's like 2 weeks before, I was like, God, give me your biggest heartbreak. And then I thought I was gonna be heartbroken. And when I took the shahada, when I told during the time of I told everybody 1 week, I was like, hey, I'm taking my shahada. So like, it's gonna be my last time seeing you guys. But I don't know. I'll see you guys more though. Like if you guys are willing to invite me, I'll still come see you guys. And they were all heartbroken, bro. They were like, no, don't leave, don't leave. Don't leave. I'm like, bro, I gotta go here. I know like you guys think I'm like, bro, this is the wave, bro. This is so much better. They're like, no, it's not. Muhammad, XXX, Allah, XX. They'll say some weird stuff, but I don't. Maybe they were like disrespecting it a little bit, but I mean, it's okay. I don't know why they were disrespecting it, but yeah, they were just saying like disrespectful things, and I was like, it made me not even want to become Christian. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course.
Because they were talking so much crap, and I was like, you guys got beef with Muslims, bro? Like we still love Jesus, and then they're like, yeah, but he's not God anymore. I'm like, bro, God can't die on a cross, bro.
Yeah.
And then I guess they were trying to debate me still, and I was actually gonna become Eastern Orthodox. And then after I was like, okay, how do I say? I think during that time I told them they were all heartbroken, and I took my shahada like maybe the next week, and I was like, let's go, I'm riding this John out,
Absolutely. No, that's a beautiful moment. SubhanAllah, it seems like something I've heard consistently when the person is about to take shahada, planning to do it, there's always a last ditch effort from the devil to try to pull you back in. MashaAllah, they might be good people, X, Y, and Z, but they're without a doubt misguided.
Yeah.
So
you know what's crazy, man? Bro, one of them told me to burn the Quran.
There you go.
I was like,
alhamdulillah.
What?
Yeah.
In my head, I didn't say that. I'd be like, I was like, dude, don't like. I was like, dude, that's like kind of disrespectful.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's a last ditch effort from the devil to try to pull you away from taking shahada, because this is the moment where your life changes forever, when you're on the straight path, and there's no doubt about it. So they try to pull you back in. They're telling you all these things, but you made the leap. You made a big step. So mashallah, may Allah reward you and accept your shahada. You give your declaration of faith. Mm-hmm. After that, what happens with your family?
My family, bro. As soon as I took my shahada, I told it took me 2 weeks to tell them. I didn't even like try to tell them. They were asking me questions, right? Yeah. And I don't like lying. I like to be strictly like honest. I do my best to be honest. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course.
And my grandma, for the 2 weeks, my mom and my grandma, they were like, why you stop going to church? I was like, I was just avoiding the question. I'll just change the subject. And then the more they asked, I was like, bro, give me a break. And then after, bro, I was like talking to her. One morning, I slept on the couch. I always like to sleep on the couch on the weekend. Anyways, my mom, she woke me up. She's like, are you going to church today? I'm like, no. And then so which church you go to now? Like, what do you do? Like, do you do Mormon? I was like, no, like Judaism. I'm like Muslim. I'm like, Mom, I was dabbling into that. So you're Muslim? I'm like, no, I'm not Muslim yet. Yeah. And then she goes like, I knew it. I was like, what you mean? And then my grandma, I think I told my grandma, when I took the shahada, I told my grandma, I was like, Grandma, I am Muslim now. You know what she said?
What she said?
She was like, oh my gosh, you're going to kill yourself. I'm like, no, I'm not. And then she was like, she couldn't go to sleep, bro. She couldn't go to sleep for a night, she said. So I can't go to sleep anymore. I'm like, Grandma, trust me, I'm not gonna blow up, okay? I'm not gonna blow up. And then she goes like, okay, what's gonna happen now? I'm like, well, this is gonna be me for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I'm gonna become Muslim. I'm a Muslim for the rest of my life. So what about Jesus? Do they still believe in Jesus? Yes, we still believe in Jesus as a prophet, not God. You know.
Of course.
And then my mom asked me, it's like, hey, go back to that story. Like my mom asking me, and I had a feeling my grandma told my mom about me becoming Muslim, right? And then we kind of just argued in there, like, you're Muslim? I was like, Mom, how did you figure it out? She was like, how do I say? She was like, I just know, I have that mom sense. I'm like, okay. And I just kind of guessed. I was like, did grandma tell you? And then she goes like, no. I'm like, I see your eyes. Yeah. And then she goes like, how do I say? I ran upstairs. I went to my grandma, right?
Yeah.
And I went up to my grandma. I was like, Grandma, did you tell Mom that I'm Muslim? And then she's like, no. I'm like, bro.
SubhanAllah. And you know, it's a misconception that a lot of people have because of the media, right? Yeah. A lot of people are brainwashed by the media, unfortunately. Yeah. Even our own parents, they have these ideas that terrorism, X, Y, and Z, and all that stuff is completely false. But of course, the devil works through the media to try to get them away from Islam. So may Allah guide them. May Allah soften their hearts and allow them to come to Islam. Yeah. So you tell your parents. It seems like a kind of a crazy moment.
Yeah.
Where are you at this stage with them? Have they been seeing that you know, the character change and everything else like that? Where are they with it?
When I was Christian, I did change a lot, if I be honest. That was like my path. Okay. So when I became Christian, they were like, wow, this man changed. This man turned into Gerry. No, he was to Gerry to Father Gerry.
Yeah.
They were like, whoa. It was like a whole 360, right? And then when I became Muslim, they started seeing like more like
discipline, maybe
more discipline, like waking up at 5 a.m, 6 a.m, and then like telling like, hey Mom, you need help with anything? Like I'll help you with anything. And they're starting to be more appreciative about it, you know?
Yeah.
But you know, the one thing is that I would say they go to church, you know, they're, you know, like inshallah they become more disciplined into Catholic, you know, and then soon Islam, you know.
Inshallah.
But the thing is, like, my mom is like, because let me tell you this, bro. If they practice like Catholic full on, they would probably just kick me out. They would probably kick me out. But since they didn't practice as much, they're just like, yeah, he's Muslim.
Yeah,
you know
that's a really good point. Because they're very strict about what they believe in if they're practicing. So Allah cleared that path for you. They're non-practicing in a sense. So that made it easy for them to digest the fact that you're not Muslim and you're on the correct path. So it seems like you're in a very good point of your life. Alhamdulillah. I see you very disciplined, very focused, involved in the community. I see you on Saturdays. MashaAllah. So,
you know, I try to be.
Yeah, try to be.
It's hard, man.
We all do, of course. And at this point, what advice would you give to people who are looking into Islam and those who just accepted Islam? What advice would you give to them?
I would say be ready for the discipline, because that's the one thing that it drove me into Islam, was because how we're so dedicated, really dedicated to God. Much more rules. I think rules is very important, because I think that if there's no rules in life, then how are we gonna live?
Yeah,
you know.
Of course. Like
pretend this, right? When we're kids, right? Who's taking care of us?
Your parents.
Our parents, right? My mom is taking care of me, right? And it goes along by the years go by, and then like soon we start to get more knowledge and get more smart. Right? And after when we turn 18, like when we're like, we can go out to the world, who's going to discipline us?
Yeah.
You know? My mom can't discipline me. My dad can't discipline me. And I'm an adult. Who's going to discipline me?
Yeah,
Allah has to discipline
Of course,
me.
that's a beautiful point you just made.
You know?
Yeah, of course. If you have no guidance, any sort of guidance, your own desires is what's gonna be driving you. Whether it's women, whether it's drugs, whether it's party, whether it's this or that. The sky's the limit as to what your body, your desires want. So without this component of Allah, of Allah's guidance, we're definitely cooked.
Yeah, yeah, we're definitely no, but yeah, dude, it was so. It's like I had no guidance, bro. After like my ex-girl, like we both left, like we donezo, bro. After I had no guidance, bro. I had to love. I was trying to find something, and I couldn't find anything. I tried to find love, couldn't find zero. And then they would last for 2-3 weeks and then done. And I'm like, what am I going to do now? You know? But when I found God, whole different game. It's like I could be alone now with God, you know?
Of course, because we know that there's a gap in the heart that we try to fill it with anything and it's not going to fit in that gap. The only thing that can fit is Allah. Mm-hmm. The only thing that can fit is Allah. So that's why people go crazy with all these sort of things. Until they truly find God, the oneness of God, one God, they will never find contentment. So, and it's a beautiful story. A lot of people are going to benefit from this. MashaAllah, we've been getting a lot of support from the audience. So may Allah reward you. May Allah keep you firm on deen. May Allah guide our parents to Islam. And brother, I wish you nothing but the best. We're going to keep in touch. We see each other on the weekends already. So alhamdulillah for that. And I wish you all the best.
Thank you, Abdullah. I appreciate you a lot.
Thank you, everyone who tuned into the Latino Muslim Podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode and benefited from it. Inshallah, make sure to leave a comment, like, and subscribe. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Assalamu alaikum.
إن أكرمكم عند الله أتقاكم إن الله عليم خبير